Welcome back. All right, 13 games on Saturday. 13 starting with the earliest at 1 p.m. Eastern, the latest starting at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, so full day for me. So 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific start between Colorado and Detroit. Colorado won the first meeting between these two teams on January the 16th by a score of 6-3. We all remember the rivalry between these teams. I don't think that ever comes back, but still one of the better rivalries in sports when it was hot. Colorado's 39-22-6 over their last 10 games. They're 6-3-1. They've won 4 in a row. They're 5 points ahead of Winnipeg, and they've got 2 games in hand. So, yeah, they've put some distance between themselves and Winnipeg. The Jets haven't done themselves any favors either. Devon Taves, 4 goals, 32 assists, 36 points. I think he's overshadowed by Makar. He's an excellent defenseman in his own right. And Newhook, 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points. I think he's one of those support guys they're going to need in the playoffs. You have to think that if a team is able to take care of some of the scoring forwards and take opportunities away from them, it'll be on support guys like Newhook to get those big moments. For Detroit, 30-28-9 overall. Their last 10 games are 2-7-1. They're 9 points behind both Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders, so they're basically out of this at this point. David Perron had a really hot start to the season. It's been colder lately. 16 goals, 25 assists, 41 points. Andrew Kopp, the 8 goals, probably a disappointment for most, but 29 assists, 37 points. The assists are right about where you'd expect him to be, and honestly, the points, he's about a 40-point producer, yep. It is just a shame he only has the 8 goals. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, Boston Bruins and the Minnesota Wild. So October 22nd in overtime, Boston won at home 4-3. We'll see what happens with this one. Boston 51-11-5. They're 7-3 over their last 10. They did win their last game. They're 16 points ahead of Toronto. So again, they're not really in any danger. Pavel Zacha, 18 goals, 29 assists, 47 points for him. He's been prominent recently. And Trent Frederic's had a good year. Yep, 15 goals, 11 assists, 26 points. I'd kind of like to see him rally and get to 20 goals this year. I think that'd be good. On the Minnesota side, 39-21-8 is the record. They have a point in 14 straight games. It's a team record. They're 7-0-3 in their last 10, and they won their last game. They're 2 points clear of Colorado. Matt Zuccarello, 22 goals, 41 assists, 63 points. In the absence of Kaprizov, Zuccarello has stepped up. Spurgeon, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points on the blue line, has been really, really solid as expected of the team captain. So I kind of like Minnesota here because Boston, the motivation, you can just see the motivation is not there with Boston over the last couple of weeks, and it has started to affect the results. We'll see what happens with this one tomorrow. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific start between Winnipeg and the Nashville Predators as well. This is the third of 4 meetings. On December 15th, Winnipeg wins in overtime 2-1. On January 24th, it was a 2-1 win for Nashville. The fourth and final meeting will be on April the 8th. For Winnipeg, they're 38-28-3 overall. Their last 10 games are 3-5-2, and they've lost their last 2 in regulation. They're 3 points ahead of Calgary. They're 4 points ahead of Nashville. This is a rough time, though, because they're against Nashville. So if they don't win this one in regulation, they're then only 2 points ahead of Nashville. Scheifele, 38 goals, 22 assists, 60 points. Pionk, 8 goals, 18 assists, 26 points. These are 2 players they need some points from. They need Scheifele to hit that 40-goal mark, and they need to win this one big. On the Nashville side, they're 34-25-7. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1, and they lost their last game, and that was against Chicago. The frustrating thing with Nashville is the games that they've lost over the last few weeks, it feels like they're ones they shouldn't. Arizona and Chicago being examples. So in that same vein, maybe they win a game that they probably shouldn't against a Winnipeg team that should be able to beat them, considering the selling that went on at the deadline for Nashville. This also will mean Nino Niederreiter against his former team, of course. 4 points behind Winnipeg for Nashville. That's it. Duchesne, 19 goals, 32 assists, 51 points. Good year, not fantastic. But Novak's been excellent. In 35 games this year, 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points. He has played a big role for Nashville since joining the team. And yeah, really impressive. And then 2 hours later at 4 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock East, or 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And my plan is to have these 3 games on one board and do a recap of these 3, and then the other 10 will likely have to have their own video. But at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, we have the Edmonton Oilers and the Seattle Kraken. This is the fourth and final meeting. Edmonton's won 2 of the first 3. December 30th, your No Mercy game, 7-2 in favor of the Oilers. January 3rd, a 5-2 win for Seattle, and January 17th, I should say, 5-2 for the Oilers. So for Edmonton, they're 38, 23, and 8. Their last 10 games are 6-4. They've won 2 in a row. They're 1 point ahead of Seattle, their opponents, on this day. McDavid, 57 goals, 74 assists for 131 points. He is cruising to 150 points. Evander Kane, 28 games, just the 10 goals, 11 assists, 21 points. I'm kind of surprised there isn't more goals. We'll see whether or not he gets one tomorrow. Seattle, 38, 23, and 7. So the records really are almost identical. Over their last 10, Seattle's 6-3-1. They did win their last game. They're 4 points ahead of Winnipeg. They're 7 points ahead of Calgary. So they're not in any danger yet, but again, for Seattle, you want to keep winning. You want to stay above that line. And for Edmonton, you want to put Seattle in your rearview mirror and be up 3 points on them at the end of Saturday. Eberle, 15 goals, 37 assists, 52 points for Seattle. He's been very good. Yanni Gourde, just the 11 goals, but 31 assists for 42 points for him. Then we fast forward an hour to 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. The fourth and final meeting between Philadelphia and Carolina. So I wore Whalers because Carolina reasons, and the Canes have won the first 3. I don't see any reason why they won't win the fourth. But the Canes are coming off that loss against Toronto. Philadelphia is coming off that win against Buffalo. We shall see. Carolina wins October 29th by a score of 4-3 in overtime, December 23rd by a score of 6-5, and March the 9th by a score of 1-0. Also, I wanted to wear a green jersey for tomorrow as well, since I wore all the green jerseys for Friday. So for Carolina, 44, 15, and 8 is their record over their last 10 games. They're 5-5. They lost tonight in Toronto. They're 1 point clear of New Jersey, so that division is close. Jarvis, 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points. They could use some more goals from Jarvis. And Stahl, a guy who has been there for the big goals over the years. He has 16 goals, 13 assists, 29 points. Is this a game where he gets a big goal and maybe the winner? On the Philadelphia side, they're 25, 32, and 11 overall. Their last 10 games are 2-7-1, but as I said, they won tonight. They are 17 points behind Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders for that final playoff spot. Morgan Frost, 13 goals, 18 assists, 31 points. Farabee got his 10th goal tonight to go with 18 assists for 28 points. So a couple of young guys on the board for Philly. Maybe they get themselves a goal against the Philadelphia Flyers. 6 Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. So another hour later, we get New Jersey and Florida. These games are really, truly spread out. These teams meeting for the third and final time. They've split the first 2 meetings, so this is a rubber match. December 17th, it was a 4-2 win for Florida. December 21st, it was a 4-2 win for New Jersey. For the Devils, they're 44, 17, and 7. They're going to be really glad it's not Tampa Bay again. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game in a shootout against Tampa. They're 7 points ahead of the New York Rangers. Jesper Bratt, 27 goals, 33 assists, 60 points. Very solid season for him. And Tatar, 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points. Be interesting to see in the offseason what happens with Tatar and whether he stays in New Jersey. But for right now, all we're worried about is the playoffs. And New Jersey's in good spot that if Carolina falters any further, New Jersey could win that division. Florida, 34, 27, and 7 on the season. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. They did win their last game. They're 3 points behind the Islanders, but they have 2 games in hand on the Islanders. That's why I didn't put Pittsburgh, because they play the same amount of games as Pittsburgh. And Montour, 12 goals, 44 assists, 56 points, has been fantastic on the blue line. Lundell, good defensive numbers. The offense, 9 goals, 19 assists, 28 points. I think next year he could have a breakthrough offensively. This year it hasn't been his year offensively, but again, Lundell's a very good two-way forward. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We've only got two games starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. First off, Montreal and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's won the first 2 meetings. This is the third of 4. Tampa Bay wins December 17th by a score of 5-1. December 28th, it's a 4-1 win for Tampa. The fourth and final meeting will be on March the 21st. For Montreal, they're 27, 36, and 6. Their last 10 games are 2-6-2. They're coming off that 9-5 loss against Florida. They are 18 points behind Pittsburgh and the Islanders. Josh Anderson, 21 goals, 10 assists, 31 points. He's had a good year. And Harvey Pinard's come out of nowhere. 25 games, 9 goals, 5 assists, 14 points. Those are good numbers. On the Tampa Bay side, 41, 22, and 6 is their record. They're 4-4-2 over their last 10. They're coming off back-to-back wins against New Jersey. They're 13 points ahead of Florida, so they're pretty firmly entrenched in third, and they've got their eye on second. Point, 43 goals, 37 assists, 80 points. He's had a remarkable year. So has Killorn, 21 goals, 31 assists, 52 points in what may be the final year for Killorn with Tampa due to salary cap reasons and all of that. Then also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators. These teams have split the first 2 meetings. This is the third of 4. They'll meet again on April the 1st. But on October 15th, Toronto wins 3-2. January 27th, Ottawa won 6-2. Big win there. Toronto 41-18-9 with the win tonight. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They did win their last game. They're 3 points ahead of Tampa Bay. Tavares has had a good year. 30 goals, 37 assists, 67 points for him. David Kampf is one I'm looking for to get a goal, something. His work ethic's excellent. 7 goals, 17 assists, 24 points. On the Ottawa side, it has been tough. They are now 33-31-4. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but they've lost 4 in a row in regulation. They're 8 points now behind Pittsburgh and the Islanders as their playoff hopes have dwindled. Stützle, 34 goals, 42 assists, 76 points. He's at star level. Pinto has picked it up again after what was a great start and then a very, very quiet middle part of the season. He's now up to 18 goals, 11 assists, 29 points. So for Ottawa, you're now in the stage of how are the kids developing? How do things look for next year? Sadly. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific start between Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Pittsburgh won the first 2 meetings. Rangers won the most recent. This is the final meeting. So December 20th, Pittsburgh wins 3-2. March the 12th, it's the 3-2 win again, this time in overtime for Pittsburgh. And March the 16th, just yesterday, was a 4-2 win for the Rangers. So for Pittsburgh, they're 34-24-10 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. They've lost 2 in a row. They're tied with the Islanders in points. They're 3 points clear of Florida. Malkin, 24 goals, 48 assists, 72 points, continues to be a point-per-game player. And Zucker, 24 goals, 18 assists, 42 points for him. On the Rangers side, 39-19-10 is the overall record. 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. They are 10 points ahead of Pittsburgh and the Islanders. So they've basically clinched third place in that division. I don't think they catch either New Jersey or Carolina, but I can't see Pittsburgh or the Islanders catching them either with the amount of games that are left. Adam Fox, 10 goals, 51 assists, 61 points. I think he's become underrated again and in terms of votes for the Norris. Kreider, 30 goals, 17 assists, 47 points. It's another 30-goal season for Chris Kreider. Then at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, we have the Dallas Stars and the Calgary Flames. Dallas has not beaten Calgary the first 2 times out. This is their final chance. It was a 6-5 win January 14th for Calgary, March the 6th. It was a 5-4 win for Calgary. That one they got the winning goal with 5 seconds left. For Dallas, they're 37-19-3. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row in regulation. They're 1 point ahead of Minnesota. Minnesota also has a game in hand, so they got to be careful here. Jamie Benn, 29 goals, 36 assists, 65 points, having the best season he's had in quite some time. Heiskanen, fantastic year for Heiskanen, 10 goals, 47 assists, 57 points. On the Calgary side, they're 31-24-14, and that faint hope is still there. They are 4-4-2 in their last 10 to get to 31-24-14. They did win their last game, a big win in Vegas. The problem is Winnipeg and Nashville, they don't want to see either of those teams win. I guess you'd prefer to see Nashville get a win, right? But you kind of don't want Nashville to keep up with Calgary either if you're a Flames fan. 3 points behind Winnipeg for Calgary. Mangiapane, 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points. He's been playing very well of late. Lucic, he might be the strongest player in the league. 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points. And I've mentioned this in videos before, he just collides with guys and they always fall down. He doesn't. And it doesn't matter. He doesn't even have to set himself for anything. He just knocks everybody down. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific start between Vancouver and LA. Vancouver won the first meeting on November 18th by a score of 4-1. The Kings have 2 more meetings after today with the Canucks, April 2nd and April the 10th. So that may very well be good for them when it comes to their chase of the division because Vancouver well below the playoff line. 29-33-5 their last 10 games. They are 7-3, but they're coming off that loss in Arizona. They are 16 points back of Winnipeg. Kuzmenko, 34 goals, 27 assists, 61 points. Just a revelation for Vancouver this year. And Sheldon Dries deserves a little bit of love here. 10 goals, 5 assists, 15 points. Good fourth liner. I don't know if he's still in the NHL next year, if he ends up in Abbotsford, but Dries has given them a solid effort every night. LA 40-20-9 overall. Their last 10 games are 8-1-1. They've won 2 in a row. They're 1 point back of Vegas. Vegas doesn't play, so all they have to do is get a couple points. They're first in the Pacific if they do so. They're 5 points ahead of Edmonton. Deno, 18 goals, 30 assists, 48 points for him. He's been solid. And Velarde, 22 goals, 17 assists, 39 points. He's been very hot and cold. Feels like he's heating up again. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start between Chicago and Arizona. This is the fourth and final meeting. We shall all give a collective sigh that we don't get to see these teams play each other again this season, but we'll persevere. We'll get over it. Chicago's won 2 of the first 3, though. 2-0 on January 6th, and then in overtime 4-3 on February the 10th. And then Arizona gets their measure of revenge on February 28th by a score 4-1. So the Chicago Blackhawks 24-38-6. Their last 10 games are 3-6-1, but they've won 2 in a row. They beat Boston, they beat Nashville. Radish, 20 goals, 13 assists, 33 points. Very solid year for him. Kurashev, 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points on a team that's lost Domi and Kane to trades. It's up to guys like Kurashev and Radish now to produce those points. They currently sit 25 points behind the Jets for a playoff spot. On the Arizona side, they're much closer to the playoffs than Chicago. They're 26-32-11 overall. Their last 10 games are 6-2-2. They've won 3 in a row, but they're 16 points back of Winnipeg for that last playoff spot, so they're not getting there. McBain, 11 goals, 7 assists, 18 points. Really good season for McBain. Been impressed with him. The point totals, I think, will come. The work ethic's there. Soderstrom, 17 games and 6 assists. He's been pretty good, too, and his plus-minus is an even 0, which, again, on the Coyotes with the season they've had, that's respectable. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start between the Islanders and San Jose. The Islanders won this meeting October the 18th by a score of 5-2 in New York. They're 35-27-8. Their last 10 games are 6-3-1. They won their last game. They need this one. For the Islanders, they need to keep winning because they've played more games than teams that are chasing them in the race. They're tied with Pittsburgh. They've played 2 more games than Pittsburgh. They've played 2 more games than Florida, who are 3 points back. Dobson, 12 goals, 27 assists, 39 points. Very good on the blue line. And Parise's had a good year. 17 goals, 11 assists, 28 points. I think if you told anybody at the start of the year Parise would get around 20, maybe even 25 goals, I think anybody would have taken that. On the San Jose side, they're 19-36-14. Their last 10 games are 1-6-3. They've lost their last 2 in extra time. I'm guessing we're going to have overtime again because San Jose likes their overtime. They're 27 points back of Winnipeg. Hurdle, 19 goals, 36 assists, 55 points. Barabanov, 14 goals, 31 assists for 45 points. And of course, those overtime loss points take them further away from the bottom in the league, which it feels like that's where they want to be because they want the best chance at the number 1 draft pick. Let me know your picks for Saturday's games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.